Welcome to PRAJNA SPARKS special series, 59 Days of Healing, where we explore one maxim from the Tibetan Lojong text, 7 points for healing dualistic mind, each day to integrate the practice into our lives. Today is day 8. We are working with point 2, nurture the intent to awaken, and maxim 8, 3 sets of 3, things, poisons, virtues. What in the heck is that supposed to mean? Things, poisons, and virtues. This is actually a really profound topic. Coming as it does in point 2, it's referring to ways that in everyday life, we can nurture this intent to awaken, bodhicitta, on an ultimate level, meaning how can we work with emptiness right in the middle of the messiness of life? What do these 3 things mean? Things, poisons, and virtues. Things means whatever objects attract our consciousness, our mind. Maybe it's a landscape or a piece of art or a person or a song. Whatever it may be, all the different sense objects that we are flooded with every single day carry with it, as we experience them, an immediate sense of positive, negative, or neutral. Anything that we experience is either appealing, unappealing, or neutral. Depending on which of those 3 accompanies our experience of the object, we have attachment, aversion, or apathy. Attachment to things that are appealing, aversion to things that are unappealing, and apathy to pretty much everything else. A lot of the time, we tend to think, oh, that person is terrible. I can't stand them. They are just this, that, and the other thing. Or I just can't stand cilantro. It's just dreadful. And we think that that quality resides in the cilantro. Poor little herb. It's just sitting there, growing as it can, like everybody else likes to do. It wants to thrive and flourish. It's not the cilantro that has this negative quality. It's not this person that you find so distasteful that is embedded with repulsive qualities. It's our attachment, our aversion, our apathy that colors our experience. This is a really profound thing if we think about it. When we inquire experientially, looking at the cilantro, the person, or perhaps something that we find wonderful, is there something about that object that is inherently wonderful, terrible, or negligible? No. There will always be somebody who loves cilantro when you hate it, who can't stand your beloved, and so forth. So it's our mind, our attitude that colors that experience. And where does that come from? It comes from misperception, which is at the root of samsaric experience. We take the things that we like about a person to be fixed, never changing, existing just the way we see them. When someone who we love and adore hurts us or betrays us, it's a shock because we are so convinced that it's only going to be that one way. This maxim is laying out that structure so that we can start to recognize how much our mindset, our misperception is flavoring our experience. But it doesn't just stop with objects and poisons, that attachment, aversion, or apathy, which are toxic because they make it extremely difficult to sustain the tranquility that is natural to mind. If it's natural to mind, why is it so difficult? We should be able to just plop down on a meditation cushion and there it is, tranquility. But it doesn't happen. Why? Because these toxic kinds of roiling emotions churn up the mind so that we don't have that tranquility that allows us to just naturally settle into our true nature, naturally experience things just as they are in all their fullness. without editing out before we even have a chance to see it all. This is where the third part comes in, the virtues. Every object that triggers any one of these toxic emotions, classified as attachment, aversion, or apathy, but each one of those can be embellished to infinite degrees. The virtue comes in starting to recognize that we can use infinite potentiality, the true nature of things, to open up this very close-minded way of interacting with anything. That doesn't mean you have to eat the cilantro if it's an unpleasant experience. You don't have to hold it against the poor little thing. You can actually start turning even attachment, aversion, and apathy into virtues by allowing yourself to hold them all more lightly, allowing yourself not to believe the storyline of, oh, I love, oh, I hate, oh, I couldn't care less, and just be curious, interact, and get to know things on a much more open-ended, interesting, full spectrum level.
I appreciate this teaching, especially as it relates to cilantro, which I have a particular relationship with. So this is very useful guidance. One of the questions that I have about this is I feel like it's more obvious how attachment and aversion are problematic. But, I hear people say sometimes, well, the opposite of hate isn't love, it's indifference. I don't know if indifference is the same as apathy and what's the problematic nature of apathy?
That's a great question because we'll talk in a second about how we actually do this sort of alchemical reaction with each of these. But apathy is actually a very general word, which, if we trace it back to the terms used in the heritage languages of Buddhism, Pali, Sanskrit, Gandhari, Chinese, Japanese, Tibetan, and so forth, relates to delusion. So, for example, I'm from New York. I can't tell you how much time I've spent on the streets of New York, walking here and there, passing literally millions of people by this time in my life, none of which, unless I was specifically trying to work with Buddhist practice, I gave even a fraction of a second of thought to. I was apathetic. Why was I apathetic? Due to the delusion, the lack of knowledge as to my intimate, infinite connection with each and every one of those beings. Apathy is almost like anesthetizing reality. We white out the vast amount of all of our experiences, people, objects, thoughts, whatever it may be, because it's too much. But it does not allow us to explore the infinite interdependence we share with all beings, with all that lives, with our environment. This is why apathy is considered toxic. It is the source of both attachment and aversion. It's that delusion that usually we experience as apathy that is also the source of, oh, this cilantro is terrible, aversion. Oh, my beloved is only wonderful, attachment. It's delusion that serves as the root of all three. The alchemy that we use with this maxim is whenever we really catch ourselves in a moment of aversion or attachment or apathy, we say, oh, this is something that I have in common with all beings. May this moment of great attachment, for example, or jealousy, pride, however it manifests, that I am experiencing, bring together all of the similar states of all beings so that they never have to experience it again. There is a sense of welcoming negativity that's similar to Tonglen. So we can see how these maxims start to work with one another. Just as with Tonglen, there may be some fear involved or disbelief. We might be very casual about this. This practice seems trite, but it's immensely powerful. I invite you to give this a try quite seriously. what happens is the more we do it, the more we spontaneously move towards difficult experiences, emotions, feelings as fertilizer for our spiritual development and our relationship with others. We can embrace the difficulties that normally bring up fear or anxiety or dread in learning about our own mind, how it gets tumbled up by these poisons. We are experiencing that commonality we share with all beings. We become the laboratory for cultivating compassion for everyone. It's very easy once we respond to otherwise challenging behavior in others with the virtue of understanding, compassion, tenderness, and empathy. Of course, it takes time and it takes a commitment to ourselves, but by watching our mind, seeing how our responses to objects, which from their own side have nothing that is inherently wonderful, terrible, or neutral to them, creates attachment, aversion, and apathy, we welcome the opportunities to embrace painful, difficult, fearful emotions in us, and thereby come to understand how all beings struggle.
This has been Yeshe and Tanya on day 8 of PRAJNA SPARKS special series, 59 of Healing. Tune in daily for more maxims from the Tibetan Lojong text, 7 Points for Healing Dualistic Mind. Check the episode notes for more resources and email us at sparks@prajnafire.com with any questions. May all beings benefit.